I couldn't believe my eyes when I found this out. These temples could have disappeared forever. Yes, forever. Buried under water, clay, and layers of oblivion. A history over 3,000 years old could have been lost if not for a twist of fate. Or perhaps the intervention of higher powers. You weren't expecting this, were you? But right now, I'm about to tell you a truth that will shatter everything you thought you knew about history. Watch this video till the very end, you won't regret it. And if you're fascinated by forgotten civilizations, ancient mysteries, and secrets of the past, don't forget to subscribe, because there's a lot here that rarely gets spoken about. We're going to the heart of ancient Egypt. Not the tourist version with hotels, camels, and plastic signs. This is a place that holds traces of something absolutely mind-blowing. Imagine a cliff, in the desert, surrounded by burning sand. Now imagine that in that cliff are not just carvings, but giant 20-meter-tall colossi. Faces staring into eternity. This is the Temple of Ramses II in Abu Simbel, one of the grandest wonders ever created by mankind. But you know what's the most incredible part? This temple wasn't built. It was carved out of solid rock. No bricks, no blocks, just one massive stone, with hallways, columns, statues, and reliefs cut into it with surgical precision. The question is, how? The answer: no one knows. Modern architects admit, to make something like this today, we'd need supercomputers, lasers, robotics, and years of planning. But they did it more than 3,000 years ago, with no electricity, no cranes, no machines. And they did all this for one man. Ramses II. The longest reigning pharaoh in Egyptian history. He ruled for nearly 70 years. In the ancient world, that's not just rare. That's impossible. While others died in their 30s, Ramses watched generations come and go. The children of his subjects grew old, and he was still on the throne. It struck awe and fear into people. They called him immortal. A god among men. The soul of the sun. He wasn't just a ruler. He was an idol of his time. And he was unbelievably tall, almost 2 meters. That's like meeting a 3-meter-tall person today. His remains were found, measured, and studied. Coincidence? Or a genetic trait he took pride in? Some Egyptologists believe his height held sacred symbolism. He literally towered over others. And maybe that's why he decided to leave his mark in stone, so even thousands of years later, people would still feel how mighty he truly was. Now listen closely, this temple wasn't just dedicated to gods. It was a symbol of a victory that never happened. The Battle of Kadesh, one of the largest battles of the ancient world. Egyptians vs. the Hittites. You might be surprised to hear this, but no one won. It was a draw. But guess what Ramses did? He ordered scenes of his triumphant victory to be carved into the temple walls. Yes, he turned a draw into a legend. He rewrote reality. And thousands of years later, we're still looking at this stone-carved version of the story and believing it. Still with me? Then keep listening. Because we haven't even reached the most shocking part yet. This temple almost vanished. Completely. It was nearly swallowed by water. In the mid-20th century, Egypt's government decided to build the Aswan Dam, a colossal hydroengineering project. And the temple stood right in the flood zone. The engineers gave 2 options: save the dam or save the temple. Keep the water or keep history. It seemed like there was no choice. The temple would drown. But then something unexpected happened. Scientists from all over the world came to the rescue. Archaeologists, engineers, architects. At the head of it all, a fragile-looking French Egyptologist. And she demanded the impossible. The temple had to be moved. Imagine this: you have to cut a mountain weighing tens of thousands of tons into pieces, move them, and reassemble them perfectly, without losing even a millimeter. It was called the operation of the century. And they did it. They didn't just save the temple, they preserved its magic. Because twice a year, on exact dates in February and October, the sun's rays pierce the temple and illuminate the face of Ramses inside. exactly as it did 3,000 years ago. That's no accident. That's pure precision. Astronomy, geometry, magic, and belief, everything combined to create a miracle that still works today. And now, something more personal. Because next to this monumental temple stands another. More modest, but no less significant. It was built for a woman Ramses loved so deeply, he placed her face next to his own. That was unheard of. In all of Egypt's history, queens didn't get temples. But Nefertari was different. Her beauty was legendary. She was called the beloved wife of the pharaoh. In the temple's reliefs, the goddesses Isis and Ether place on her head the crown of Sirius. That means she was elevated to divine status. Some researchers believe the temple wasn't just a gift of love, it was a way to hold her soul in this world. This temple became a portal. Maybe not just metaphorically. Because ancient Egyptian architecture wasn't just about walls and ceilings, it was about connecting the earthly with the divine. Here, the walls speak. The stones sing. And if you ever find yourself standing in Abu Simbel, you'll hear it for yourself. Now hold on tight. Because what comes next is the most mysterious part. Something no official source ever fully explains, yet it raises questions in the minds of everyone who has ever stepped inside these temples. Deep inside the main temple of Ramses, at the very heart of it, lies a sanctuary. There, 4 figures are seated: Ramses himself, the god Ra, the god Amun, and the god Ptah. All 4 sit like judges, staring straight ahead. And twice a year, on strictly defined dates, a ray of sunlight pierces the entire length of the temple and illuminates only 3 of them. Just 3. Ptah always remains in the shadows. Why? This isn't a mistake. This isn't a flaw. This is an engineered intention. Ptah is the god of the underworld. The god of darkness. The god who must not be touched by light. The Egyptians knew exactly who he was and what he demanded. And they built the entire temple, not just with lighting in mind. They aligned it with the heavens. Yes, the temple was mapped to the movement of the sun, the planets, the constellations. The alignments are too precise to be coincidence. The angles of light, the statue positions, the timing of the sunbeam, everything points to one thing. This is not just architecture. This is an ancient cosmic mechanism. Are you ready to hear something almost no one talks about? Then listen carefully. Because the deeper we look into the temple of Ramses II, the more we understand, this is not just a building, it's a code. Yes, you heard that right. The walls are not just decorated with art, they contain messages, encrypted in symbols that remain undeciphered to this day. Some of the reliefs don't follow the canon of Egyptian art. They depict scenes where Ramses interacts with beings that resemble gods, but with unnaturally elongated skulls and strange objects in their hands. In one barely visible fragment, there's an object that looks like a modern lamp, with a figure next to it seemingly directing energy toward it. Coincidence? Or a prediction of technologies that didn't exist back then? Or maybe a memory of something long forgotten? Now remember the temple's lighting phenomenon. A sunbeam that hits the face of the statue exactly twice a year. Modern scientists have confirmed, even at the new location, where the temple was relocated in the 20th century, this effect remains. Which means it wasn't just the architecture that was moved, it was the entire energy system, the celestial geometry. How did they manage that? How did they move 30-ton blocks using cranes and not make a single mistake? Some say it was luck. Others are convinced something, or someone, helped them. Too many coincidences. Too much complexity. Too much of the impossible. But maybe the most important thing is not in the temple itself. It's in the feeling it creates. Those who have been inside say they felt something unexplainable: trembling, heat, pressure in the chest. Some had headaches. Some couldn't breathe. And this is not a myth. These cases have been documented. Some researchers believe that the Temple of Ramses II creates resonant frequencies that affect the brain. Not randomly, but in very specific chambers. It's as if the architecture is tuned to human consciousness. You walk in, and you start feeling fear, awe, mystery, as if the structure itself activates ancient memory within you. Maybe we're all just underestimating the ancient Egyptians. Or maybe they knew far more than we think. And they left us this temple as a key to their civilization, to their beliefs, or to something we have yet to understand. Whatever it is, it works. Because thousands of people still travel to this burning desert, under the blazing sun, just to stand before these stone giants, to look into the eyes of a pharaoh who lived 3,000 years ago, and feel the chills down their spine. That's something you don't forget. If you found this fascinating, make sure to support this video with a like and a comment. Tell us, do you believe the ancients knew more than we do? And of course, subscribe to the channel, because next, we're heading to other corners of the ancient world, where myth and reality merge into one. See you soon. And remember, everything you thought you knew about history might not be what it seems. And here comes the question that still haunts researchers. Could the Egyptians, over 3,500 years ago, really have possessed such astronomical knowledge that even modern science struggles to explain it? Or did someone pass this knowledge on to them? Who? Some theories, as strange as it may sound, suggest extraterrestrial involvement. Yes, it sounds like something from science fiction. But the fact is, the technology used to build these temples, the precision of the carvings, the impossibility of replicating it today without digital modeling, all of it makes such a theory not entirely far-fetched. Think about it, thousands of tons of stone, perfect symmetry, optical effects, mathematical patterns embedded into the architecture. This doesn't look like the work of ancient artisans. It looks like a level of mastery that we, even in the 21st century, are only beginning to understand. And now let's go even deeper. The Temple of Nefertari. Less famous, but possibly even more mysterious. Why? Because its walls depict rituals of deification. Yes, actual scenes showing priests and goddesses turning Nefertari into an immortal being, gifting her symbols of power, life, and divine light. Some researchers believe this temple was not just a tomb or a tribute. It was a portal, a place where the soul could cross into another dimension and gain something greater. A connection to what the Egyptians called the duat, the afterlife, filled with light, symbols, and trials. And this is where things get even more fascinating. The temple was constructed with an unusual acoustic design. Speak in one corner, and the echo travels to another. Sounds seem to circulate through the hall. Studies using modern microphones and lasers were conducted. The results stunned everyone. The sound waves bounced in patterns that suggest the builders understood the physics of resonance. But such knowledge shouldn't have existed back then. Think about it, maybe the ancient Egyptians knew something. Or maybe someone helped them. Who? That remains unanswered. But many connect this to the heavenly beings mentioned in the pyramid texts, the earliest known religious writings. They describe how gods descended from the sky, brought light, power, and knowledge, and then left behind temples like Abu Simbel. By the way, did you know this temple was found almost by accident? It was completely buried in sand. Until the early 19th century, no one even knew it was there. The locals had no idea that a forgotten wonder of the ancient world lay behind their village. It all started when a European traveler noticed a strange stone protruding from the sand, and excavation began. The deeper they dug, the more jaw-dropping the discovery became. It turned out they had uncovered a monument unlike anything else on the planet. This was not just a temple. It was a message to the future. And we finally read it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want more stories like this, where ancient mysteries collide with modern-day enigmas. And what's coming next is even more thrilling. We'll talk about ancient curses, technologies that defied their time, and people whose power still sends chills down the spine.